It's a great privilege to be here to talk about two very special people that have contributed so much in the furtherance of downtown Fayetteville, Dr. Menno Pennock and Harry Shaw, both of which have made substantial contributions in bringing Fayetteville to what it is today. I guess Harry, as a little boy, grew up alongside of Cross Creek, and like so many people, had a fascination, saw the potential, had a vision, but Harry brought it together. And I think that's the amazing thing, because you had so many brilliant people over the years trying to do something with Cross Creek, and it took Harry Shaw to create the Cross Creek Linear Park, which establishes so many historical points along the way, gives people the opportunity to walk the creek, to stop along the way, to read historical interpretive information about the creek and the things that grew up around the creek.
I want to talk today about my brother, Harry Shaw, who was so instrumental in having the linear park, which we have downtown now, and is continuing to grow. And his love of Fayetteville, and also his love for community service. He served on the city council, and there's so many things everybody knows about Harry, but not many people know that he came from a very strong family background, and the family instilled in him the love of service for the community, for the church, and for the family. And those three things are the most important part of his life.
Linear Park is a very important project that I had here, and I enjoyed working with Mr. Shaw because he was a man that had vision, and he always used to say that we talked about building this trail for 30 years. He said he wanted to get it done before he died, and we did that, and we completed this trail, and we even named it after him. He didn't even want that name. He said, why are we gonna name it after me? You know, I don't need no name. Tell him just donate some money and we can build more trails. And when you walk across this trail, when you use this trail, the downtown trail or the trail in the wooded area, you know, every spot there, Mr. Shaw used to stand and say he played there. He did something where he swung across the creek with a rope, things like that. He fished there and things like that. And Mr. Shaw was a good man. I respect him because we worked together for 18 years to get this trail completed.
Finishing it proves to us that we can work together. It proves to us that we can accomplish good things for our city, even though it might take a while. And it proves to us that we can give of ourselves and of our money to help the city. And it proves to me that we have some of the most unselfish people in the world living in this spot. And I commend you for it.
And he was very involved with the linear park because there was no funds in the city to pay for it. And so he had decided he'd raise the money in the private sector to help pay for the development of the linear park. And he went around to all the women's clubs that he could find, the book clubs and the garden clubs, anybody who would have him, and he'd start talking about the linear park and what he did to help it along. And he also went to the men's clubs and anybody who would listen to him. And we sat around the dining room table and wrote letters over his signature and mailed them to everybody we could possibly think of, so that he would ask them for donations to help develop the linear park.
Next, I'd like to talk about Dr. Menno Pennock. Dr. Pennock, also a very big visionary for downtown. People that have been here a while remember when downtown was the thriving central business district, when schools were downtown, when people gathered downtown to shop, window shop on Sundays. It was just a wonderful hub for the city of Fayetteville. And then when the shopping malls came along and took people out of the central downtown area, eventually downtown Fayetteville, with the anchor businesses leaving to go to Cross Creek Mall, followed by the smaller businesses, downtown became boarded up and vacant, looked like a ghost town. And Dr. Pennock came in as one of the major investors, purchasing some of the very pivotal buildings, along with other buildings that weren't as pivotal, but put his vision and his money together in restoring some buildings today that offer both wonderful retail spaces and the opportunity for people to live downtown.
One of the projects was the 300 block where we are right now. That was quite a difficult project. The block was owned by 16 different people, and it was very difficult to get it all control of, you know, because if you buy one lot or building, then the price goes higher and people think they're sitting on a gold mine. So we accomplished that, and we had a partnership, and Tommy Bradford and Ralph Huff was very important in that. Initially I started it actually, and then they wanted to join. They joined, and they're very important to really get the product finished. We had some hard times there too, but I think the economic impact was tremendous. So was Prince Charles, and so from one thing came another thing. So I started buying buildings, because at that time you could just buy buildings for 10 cents on the dollar, really. So that's why I ended up with the McKeithen building, the Pemberton building, Sandrock building, and Campbell building, and started renovating those with some credit, you know, historical credits. It took me 2 years to convince Antonella to come to the downtown. I just helped her put it together, but I don't have any involvement in her business, so it was a joint venture from a lot of different people. So we had the Prince Charles group, then we had the group that did this building here. Then we had, at some point in time, we had the 100 block, and we're planning to do a big project like this. And unfortunately, the building that we are trying to renovate, the Lafayette Hotel, went up in flames. It was just a horrible situation.
So Dr. Pennock, over the years, has accomplished much. He has worked very closely with the State Historic Preservation Office. The buildings downtown are underneath the oversight of the Fayetteville Historic Resource Commission, and that means that exterior changes to the building must be approved by the Historic Resource Commission to ensure that they are in sympathy and in character with their historic value. And he has done that, closely working with the commission and with city officials in bringing that about. The result is a very desirable downtown. People need only come down here during the week or on the weekend to see the bustling traffic moving down the streets because of this effort on his part to make these buildings desirable, to have the people living downtown, viable businesses downstairs. All great work done by Dr. Pennock.